Irish guy, and alright, so the World Cup is in about, what, 6 months now? But still, I'm gonna go through every qualified team so far and just predict each team's shock squad inclusion for the World Cup. I mean, sure, right now, in early June, these suggestions will probably look the same way as if I was just suggested to you that you lick a stick of butter off a toilet seat. But trust me, if I'm right, if 50% of these shock players wind up going to the World Cup this Christmas, then you all have to agree to write in the comments of every football video on the internet that
the Irish guy is an absolute predictions king.
Right, let's go. Qatar, nobody. Okay, bad start. Of every team who've ever qualified for any international tournament, I know the absolute least about Qatar. I don't know who would be a shock squad inclusion for them. Do you? I don't know of any Qatari wonder kids. I mean, they all play in the Qatar Stars League, being coached by Hernan Crespo and Javi Gracia. I mean, do I stay up until 4 AM to watch a blurry stream of that division? No. You'd sooner catch me watching a box set of The Big Bang Theory. I don't have a clue. Next. Senegal, Boubacar Soumare, Leicester. Imagine if Patrick Vieira had actually, in reality, been of the standard of Jermaine Genius. Well then, you'd be looking at Boubacar Soumare. I mean, sure, like Vieira, Soumare is a midfielder who wants to play for France. I mean, good credit, he was born and bred in the country. But instead, you're gonna have to settle for Senegal. I mean, I know you spent 6 years at PSG, and last year you were in the France under-21 squad. But I'm sorry, I think it's obvious by now that Didier Deschamps is sooner going to eat marmalade off his nan's stomach than even think about giving Soumare a ring. Ozzy, we're going to get to about mid-September and just watch. Soumare is going to switch allegiances to Senegal and suddenly walk straight into the midfield alongside Idrissa Gueye, who I'm guessing has never seen Brokeback Mountain. Trust me, Soumare is playing for Senegal this winter. Netherlands, Jeremy Frimpong, Bayer Leverkusen. It speaks about the ridiculous strength and depth of England. So lad, here's a Champions League level right back eligible to play for you. I mean, he's a 21-year-old getting linked with Bayern Munich, and I'm guessing Gareth Southgate doesn't even know who he is. Whereas my country, these days, we lose to the likes of Armenia with Will Keane from Wigan up front. Ozzy, watching him play the sport, it's like on Christmas Day being forced to play strip poker with your grandparents. But here we have Jeremy Frimpong, a right back who spent 9 years in the books of Man City and was briefly at Celtic, but lads, 2 goals and 8 assists last season for Bayer Leverkusen before injuries ended the season in March. But lads, this is a quick, attacking, uncapped right back. Sure, England don't need him. I mean, they need Jeremy Frimpong about as much as they need chicken pox in their arse crack. But still, Louis van Gaal, I'm predicting he's going to bring him to Qatar as backup for Denzel Dumfries. Just you watch. Ecuador, Jorkai Resco, Newell's Old Boys. Yeah, here we've got an Ecuadorian centre forward named after Yuri Djorkov. Considering he was a former World Cup winner who played for Bolton, I'm surprised Togdad didn't name his son after him. But yeah, this fella, he's 23 and just moved to legendary club Newell's Old Boys in Argentina. Yeah, why not? Get him in the squad. United States, Gabriel Salinak, Chicago Fire. It's weird, both the USA and Poland have always been able to consistently produce good goalkeepers. Well, Gabriel Slanina can play for both. I'm sorry, Greg Berhalter, wake up and put him in your team. Forget the fact he's a teenage boy nicknamed Gaga. Clearly he probably spends his Wednesday mornings doing TikTok dances to poker face. But he's a Chicago Fire #1 wonder kid who's going to sign for Real Madrid. I mean, he wants to play for the USA, but lads, Poland just called him into their squad. No, I'm sorry, this boy's on course to become the best goalkeeper on planet Earth in 10 years. Do not let Poland get their claws on him. I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt and assume that Berhalter doesn't have the brains of a chocolate shoe. And so yeah, by Christmas, he'll be a Real Madrid employee and at the World Cup with the USA, and treated as a nationwide superstar, appearing on Jimmy Fallon, getting paparazzi and having brunch in New York with Paris Hilton. I mean, he has to. No American footballer has ever played for the biggest club on planet Earth. But I mean, Real Madrid did have a Polish goalie 10 years ago. So do it, America. Cap him and trap him. He's going to be a superstar. By the way, lads, trying to hit 150,000 subscribers as soon as possible. If you're new here, slap the big fat red button for more content like this, you absolute legends. Anyway, back into the video. Iran, Aliyar Sayedmanish Fenerbahce. Yeah, go on then. 20-year-old striker Aliyar Sayedmanish. He's a Fenerbahce employee. He just scored 9 goals in the first half of last season on loan at Zorya Luhansk, and then scored 1 goal in 12 games for Hull. I mean, I'm sure there are some championship fans out there who think that this guy has the first touch of a constipated penguin. But lads, he's he's now returning to the Turkish league, a league where last season Mario Balotelli was 1 goal shy of the Golden Boot. It's a league where a Stoke misfit like Marlene Birab is an utter goal machine, and considering Mesut Ozil's Grim Reaper shadow is hanging over the club once again, I'm guessing Fenerbahce will give this fella a few games up front. He'll score about 7 or 8 goals by Halloween and sneeze his way into Iran's squad. Why not? England, Harvey, Elliott, Liverpool. You know what? If there wasn't an England golden generation of right backs, then I'd have chosen Jed Spence. Yeah, the guy currently on the books of Middlesbrough. I know, it doesn't sound good, but lads, he is a brilliant attacking right wing back who would have been in any other England squad before 2019. But now, how do you squeeze yourself into a squad with Kieran Trippier's 4th choice right back? So instead, I think Harvey Elliott is going to do it. Lads, we've seen England pick an uncapped teenage Theo Walcott at the last minute before a World Cup, but Elliott, if he's unleashed in Liverpool's midfield from the start of this season, like he was a year ago before the injury, then he's going to force his way in at the last minute. I mean, sure, it'll be a bit awkward when he has to meet Harry Kane after he was banned for publicly slagging off the way he talks online. But lads, this might be a 19-year-old child, but just like Wayne Rooney, he has the body of a man. This man is a robust midfielder with attacking flair and insane passing ability. If he starts the first 10 games of the season for Liverpool, there is no way in hell that Gareth Southgate leaves him out in favour of persisting with Conor Gallagher, who by October is going to be rotting like a stale pumpkin on Chelsea's bench. Elliott has never been capped, no, but I really believe we are all looking at a last minute shock conclusion for you guys. Trust me, he's going. Wales, Charlie Savage, Man United. Lads, it doesn't take much to get a call up for Wales. I'm guessing that right now Rob Page is sitting on the toilet sending Will Hughes a cheeky text. I mean, Christ above, it's the Welsh FA who've been ghosted by Paul Dummett for years. Christ above, Joe Allen is on his way to 100 caps. So don't tell me this isn't going to happen. Here we've got Charlie Savage, a ball-playing midfielder who last season was playing for Man United in the Champions League. Now, I realise his dad might have looked like the 6th Spice Girl, but he was a tough tackling brick of a midfielder who was about as much fun to watch as looking at a sheep doing a poo in your foot. But this Savage is apparently a lot more technically gifted. So lads, if Savage can get himself a loan move to someone like Wigan and impress in the Championship for about 2.5 months, then I'm calling it. He's going to Qatar too. And don't tell me that he isn't. I mean, Johnny Williams plays for Swindon and he's still in the squad. Dylan Levitt is on loan from Man United at Dundee United and he's in the squad. So trust me, this is happening. Argentina, Alejandro Garnaucho, Man United. This is the season for Alejandro Garnaucho. I mean, Jesse Lingard looked like he wanted to stuff Ralph Rangnick's nose in a toaster after he snubbed his farewell at Old Trafford by picking Garnaucho instead. Look, this is a 17-year-old being marketed as the next Ronaldo, and he's currently linked with Juventus. Yeah, I know, we heard similar hype about Adnan Januzaj before, and he very quickly turned out to be a wet Kleenex in a Sunderland shirt, but still, Garnaucho looks like he's going to become a world-class superstar. And I think, after impressing for Man United in the Europa League group stages, then Argentina boss Lionel Scaloni is going to stuff him in his squad. A bit like how Argentina brought an 18-year-old Lionel Messi to the 2006 World Cup. I mean, I know what you're thinking, I've got brains made of cow piss, right? But trust me, I think this little star is going to Qatar. Mexico, Marcelo Flores, Arsenal. If Marcelo Flores wanted, he would be going to the World Cup, no questions asked. I mean, for sure. He's an 18-year-old Arsenal winger who was born in Ontario, Canada. And considering Canada would probably call up Jeremy Lynch if he was from Canada, then Flores, here's your ticket to Qatar. But he's since declared for Mexico, so it's a bit harder, but lads, this is going to be his breakout season under Mikel Arteta. He'll turn 19 in October, and I think he's going to rip it up in the League Cup, although I'm guessing there'll be some confused Arsenal fans who will look at him and think it's Hector Bellerin back on the pitch. At that point, they'll probably spit out their beer and maybe chuck donuts at his car. But still, I reckon he's a wildcard pick for Mexico. And I'm going to go a step forward. He's going to score against Saudi Arabia and do one of his backflips on the pitch. Oh yeah. He does backflips. It's going to be one of the most memorable moments of the tournament. So come on, Marcelo, don't let me down. Honestly, if you're spending late November sitting in your London flat eating Cheerios out of your cat's arse crack, I'm going to be very disappointed. Poland, Kasper Kozlowski, Brighton. Yeah, pretty simple list. Kasper Kozlowski, 18-year-old midfield wonderkid for Brighton. I mean, he's already got 6 caps, so if this happens, it's not really going to be a shock. It's not exactly going to break the sun, but yeah, it's just going to be a pretty boring Poland squad. With the manager trying to convince all of us that Matty Cash is Polish. What? The fella probably eats Bristol Shepherd's pie and watches OnlyFans on horses on his phone? If he's Polish, then I'm a unicorn made out of a snowman's vomit. Saudi Arabia, nobody. What are you looking at me for? I don't know. Denmark fitted billing Bournemouth. Will this really be a huge surprise? I mean, this is a £15 million midfielder who has played for Denmark twice before, but he has never gone to an international tournament, and last summer was threatening to declare for Nigeria in a strop. But I mean, come on Phil, what had you really done in your career up to that point other than be part of a Huddersfield team who were one of the worst Premier League sides of all time? I think the coach Casper Humland looked at billing the same way you might look at a weird old woman who sells her bottled breast milk outside the airport. But he's going to be one of the first names on Scott Parker's team sheet for Bournemouth next season in the Premier League, and if they start the season well, then yeah, go on. Billing is going to Qatar. France, Allen Saint-Maximin, Newcastle. The fact that Allen Saint-Maximin has not yet been capped by France when he's halfway to 50, it almost makes me sick to my tonsils. This man is the second coming of Hassan Ben Arfa. I'm gonna say it, I know for most of his Premier League career, he'd been diluted by working under Steve Bruce, a manager about as dynamic and exciting as cauliflower pie, but he is the best one-on-one dribbler in the Premier League. That one particular skill he has, he's undoubtedly world class. It's up there with Eden Hazard's ability. But I will admit, compared to some other French players in his position, his stats are wet spaghetti. I mean, 4 goals in his first season, 3 goals in his second season, and 5 goals last season. Without context, then if aliens were on a spaceship reading his Wikipedia, they would assume he had the footballing ability of undigested chewing gum. But no, he's gonna have a breakout goal-scoring year. Get him in your fancy football team, okay? Tottenham have been sniffing around, but he's going to stay at Newcastle, and he's going to get those numbers up by Halloween, and you know what? When he's sitting pretty on 10 goals in November, I reckon there's going to be a last-minute shock, and he's going to take the place of Wissam Ben Yedder or Kingsley Coman. Honestly, he's going to the World Cup. Tunisia, Rami Kaib Hiranveen. Yeah, here's a 25-year-old Swedish left-back, Rami Kaib. But, he's got a Tunisian passport, and he still doesn't have a Swedish cap, and so last month just declared for Tunisia. So yeah, once Sweden don't qualify for the World Cup, then he gives up in his Swedish dream to jump ship to Tunisia. I guess he's Sweden's answer to Declan Rice. Germany, Vitaly Janelt, Brentford. This isn't gonna happen, is it? I'm predicting now that with less than 6 months to the World Cup, that Germany are suddenly gonna call up an uncapped midfielder from Brentford. But no, Vitaly Janelt is 24, and I know there's been no rumours yet, but I'm predicting a late August switch to someone like Tottenham, and then he'll absolutely have the best form of his life, maybe cracking the winning goal at Old Trafford, win the Premier League Player of the Month for September, very much impressed in the Champions League against Bayern Munich, and there'll be the injury in the German camp to someone like Leon Goretzka, and yeah, somehow this guy will force himself onto the plane. Lads, this might be the most wild call yet, but Janelt for the World Cup? Spain, David Raya, Brentford. Yeah, another Brentford player going to the World Cup. Yeah, David Raya, the former Blackburn Rovers #1, is going to Qatar with Spain. But the weirdest thing about all this is that it's going to mean that the world's most expensive goalie and a man who for a long time was seen as the world's best goalie will both be left at home eating Cocoa Pops on the couch. I'm calling it. There will be no Kepa or David De Gea in Qatar. Instead, just Spanish goalies playing for Brighton and Brentford. What is this? Japan, Reo Hatat Celtic. Yeah, 24-year-old Japan midfielder Reo Hatat. Someone who played for the Japan University team, beating Brazil in the 2019 final. I mean, University team? Wow, was this a league featuring players nursing Jaeger bomb hangovers? Was the pre-match meal just sausage rolls and a pot noodle? Was the nerdy goalkeeper writing his thesis on the bus? Anyway, he's a good player, a Celtic hero after 2 goals and an assist in the Old Firm win in February. And considering this is a country which idolized Shinsuke Nakamura, then I'm guessing if you're doing things at Celtic, then yes, people are going to notice. So get him on the plane. Belgium, Albert Sambi Lokonga, Arsenal. This should be a weird shout for Albert Sambi Lokonga to force his way into Belgium's golden generation. But he's 22 and playing for Arsenal and was an Anderlecht wonder kid, so he's clearly highly thought of in Belgium. So yeah, I'm actually pretty confident he will go to Qatar. I mean, if he doesn't, then I'll eat a grilled cheese sandwich off the bottom of the sea. Croatia, Petar Musa, Benfica. Yeah, go on then. 24-year-old striker Petar Musa. He's never been capped for Croatia, and last season, while on loan from Slavia Prague, he netted 11 goals for Boa Vista in the Portuguese Primeira Liga. Once Darwin Núñez leaves Benfica for the Premier League this summer, then they will replace him with Musa. I mean, he'll score a few goals, and then, of course, despite no Croatia caps, I have no doubt that if he's scoring goals for Benfica in the Champions League, he's going to the World Cup. Morocco, Abda Ezzalzouli, Barcelona. Yeah, 0 Morocco caps, but I don't care. He's still going to the World Cup. And don't you tell me that he's not. Abda Azalzouli. He's a 20-year-old Moroccan whiz-kid winger, and he played 12 games for Barcelona last season. Now that Adama Traore is scuttling back to Wolves, Azalzouli will get even more minutes under Xavi next season. I know this guy wants to play for Spain, but lads, this is a World Cup, and with Morocco having needlessly poured hot coffee all over the ego of Hakim Ziyech, forcing him to retire, then yes, they're going to spend this autumn whispering in Azalzouli's ear. He'll give up on his Spain dream and join Morocco. I mean, come on, it's a World Cup. He's not going to say no. Canada, Daniel Jefferson, Sheffield United. Just do it. Daniel Jefferson, the England under-19 wonder kid, right? No. Toss your Three Lions dreams in a bit, because you've got a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to represent the country of your birth in their first World Cup in nearly 40 years. I mean, this is a guy who lived in Canada until he was 13, before moving to Derby in 2017. 2017! But I'm sorry, he's not English. He is clear as day Canadian. Of course he is. He moved to England when Despacito was in the charts and that Wolverine film was in the cinema. It's not long ago at all. He's Canada. He just is. He is an 18-year-old Canadian striker. He has to declare for them this summer. He has to. This man has to play for Canada. If England manage to steal him too, only to give him as many caps as Saido Berahino, forcing Jefferson to wake up and change back to Canada age 29, then honestly I'll be sick to my stomach. Do not pass up this opportunity, DJ. Don't do it. It's a World Cup with Canada. This shouldn't even be a choice. Don't turn your back on that just because your parents moved house. No! Brazil, Joelinton, Newcastle. If you told me a year ago that Joelinton would be in with a chance of going to the World Cup with Brazil, I'd assume you had your brain punctured with a fork. But the Brazil coaches can't ignore Joelinton forever. Clearly there'll be scouts watching Bruno Guimaraes play at Newcastle, and you just can't overlook Joelinton's form. He's a tenacious box-to-box midfielder now, who wins the ball back so well. If he carries his form in the next season, then actually, despite the other dream talent on that Brazil squad, I can see him replacing Fred. Serbia, Milas Vila Roma. Remember Milas Vila? That teenage Benfica goalie who utterly messed up against Man United in the Champions League in 2017. I mean, he was the youngest Champions League goalie ever, and that happens. But he's clearly still made an impression on Jose Mourinho, because he's just signing for Roma on a 5-year deal. He's leaving Benfica, having played just 5 times for them in the league. I mean, that was his Karius moment, which should have spoiled his career, right? But he's also played for Belgium under 15s, Belgium under 16s, Belgium under 17s, Belgium under 18s, Belgium under 19s, and Belgium under 21s. But he's got a Serbian passport through his dad, and Mourinho doesn't do naff goalkeepers. So I reckon Svilar will be given the Europa League games and force his way into Serbia's squad. Trust me, it's happening. Switzerland, Dan N'Doye, Nice. Yeah, Dan N'Doye, 21-year-old winger for Nice, who last season was on loan at Basel. I mean, he's never been capped, so this will be a bit of a shock. So go on then, get him in the squad. Cameroon, Georgia's Kevin Nkudu Besiktas. Again, 0 Cameroon caps for this former Tottenham flop who spluttered on loan at Burnley. But I mean, he's 27 now, and he's doing okay on the wing for Besiktas. I have a feeling he'll switch nationality to Cameroon and squeak his way into the squad for Qatar. Just you watch. Ghana, Callum Hudson-Odoi, Chelsea. Callum Hudson-Odoi must be fed up of his life. For his entire childhood and teenage years, he was probably promised the world at Chelsea. I mean, good God, Bayern Munich were sniffing around him before he'd ever done anything in his career. What do you think that would have done to his ego? And yet, he hasn't played for England in 3 years. And now he's even watching Jared Bowen overtake him. Hudson-Odoi cannot get in the Chelsea team. He turns 22 in November. What is going on? His career is being dragged through a dishwasher. I think he's going to pull a Wilfried Zaha and switch countries. He'll finally kill his England ambitions this summer, jump ship to Ghana in August, and yeah, he'll sign up for 10 years of being an African superstar. Uruguay, Diego Rossi, Fenerbahce. Yeah, there's 24-year-old midfielder Diego Rossi. He's currently at Fenerbahce, having left the MLS, where he was a consistent 18-goal-a-season superstar, but he still impressed in Turkey last season, so yeah, I reckon he'll go to the World Cup. South Korea, Jongsan Bin Wolves. Hey, South Koreans, is this a shock inclusion? 20-year-old striker Jongsan Bin? I mean, he plays for Wolves in the Premier League, and has 1 cap, 1 goal for South Korea, so it's not that big a shock, I suppose, but he has played less than 40 professional games in his life, so you know what? That actually probably would be a bit of a shock. Anyway, that's what do you think? Let me know in the comments section below. Who do you think are the shock inclusions? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe as always. I'll talk to you in a while.